Hello. Oh, you're looking so cute, little Pocahontas.
I love it.
You look beautiful. I love that. It really suits you.
Babe, I love you.
How are you?
I'm good. Obviously, I'm going to the retreat tomorrow, and I was like,
wow.
up and wash my hair tomorrow, so I put it in practice today. If I can got this, I'm going to keep it. Oh,
babe, I'm loving it.
Our special guest, Leela, meet Natalie, meet Leela. Leela is a women's empowerment intuitive coach.
Wow, okay. Nice to meet you, Leela. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Natalie. I've heard so much about you. It's nice to meet you.
Bless. Thank you. I'm so grateful that you could join us. I'm really excited to hear some of your wisdom.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I've been meaning to reach out to Charlie about it for a while because it sounds amazing what you guys are doing. So I'm happy to be here to join you.
Collaboration is something that I just live for. Like I always say, like, I don't want to be the leader and doing it all myself. I want to have a group of leaders and we're doing it all together and just bringing our communities and aligning. So I'm so excited that you're here with us. I mean, I love you to death anyway already. We know this. But it's just a really open chat today. So we'll give it a couple of minutes till some of the ladies jump on. Obviously, it's recorded as well, and we do put it onto YouTube so people can catch the replay. But how are you both? Are you good?
I'm all good. I mean, a couple of my ladies, because obviously we've changed it from 8 till 7. I know that they can't make it because they've got kids and they're putting their kids down. So they are going to be catching the replay. But yes, I'm amazing. I'm doing really well. I feel like, I've been having a bit of a couple of days where I just feel like my energy's been a bit, I wouldn't say erratic, but it's just been a lot. Yeah. So just been, and I feel like I've had so much to do. So it's been like a constant, I don't just feel like I've had time to just breathe. So I have really taken today, even though I've had loads of errands to run, I've taken today to do a lot of cleansing and releasing. So I feel a lot better, which I'm happy to report.
Yay! How have you been, Leela?
Good, yeah, good. Today has just flown. Like I literally don't know how it's 7 p.m. already.
Well, obviously, so good because today's topic of conversation is patience, and something that I definitely didn't used to have. It's a muscle that I'm focusing on strengthening every day. But yeah, I feel you. I mean, my energy yesterday was a little bit here and there because it was my Monday, because obviously with the bank holiday weekend, and then Tuesday, I mean, I had a to-do list as long as my arm, but I'm really proud of myself because I actually got a lot of it done. But I'm learning how to actually find more stillness within action, if that makes sense. Like I'm learning how to find a flow within what I'm doing and not get overwhelmed by it as much as I used to. Like the conversations that I seem to be having with people as well now, I seem to be having conversations with people and they're coming to me quite frustrated, like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. And then I'm like, what's going on? And then within a couple of minutes, it's just like pulling them back. And it's funny because me and Natalie actually had a conversation the other day and we was just sort of going back, brainstorming back and forth. And then Natalie, you was sort of talking about something possibility and then going back to something. And I went, whoa, let's breathe, come back into the present moment. And I just feel like divine intelligence is telling me to tell you, patience, you're doing everything you need to be doing. And then she went, oh my God, I can't believe you just said that. I was going to ask if we could do that as the topic for Wake Up Wednesdays. So here we are, like Wake Up Wednesdays, we're talking about patience. So obviously, we do usually have 8 p.m. If any of the ladies do jump on, I'll let them in. But we'll just get it started. We like to start sort of 5 minutes in. So, hey, for all the people catching the replay, my name is Charlie Grech. I am 27 years young. I am one of the co-founders of the incredible women's empowerment community called PutUFirst. And we are brought here today for our Wake Up Wednesdays event. Now, Wake Up Wednesdays is just a really open conversation between women on a topic, and the topic of conversation today is patience. Now, Put You First. People are probably like, what the hell is Put You First? Put You First is a women's empowerment community that we founded, myself, Natalie, and Heidi, literally a week before the world went into lockdown. And I honestly would not be the woman I am today without these women in my life. So that's why we come to you to share this knowledge and experience that we've gained throughout this year, and throughout the programs that we have put together for the women in our community, and throughout the support that we get from the relationships that we have in our community. And the best way for us to show you who we are, I'd like to do that for a little video to show you all the women have put you first.
I put me first to put you first.
I put me first to put you first.
So yes, I'm still putting me first to put you first.
So I'm learning that I have to put me first to put you first.
There's nothing better than seeing all these beautiful faces jumping on.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
Call ourselves Put You First. That is what our community is. That is what our movement is.
Seeing everyone's growth and witnessing their own aha moments. It's like magic happening right in front of your eyes, and that's very special.
You are here today because this community is meant for you. And all you have to do is just say yes.
I'm just actually flabbergasted of how many women are on here.
And when you have that group support and you are not by yourself, things start changing in your life.
That's what we're creating with this community. We're creating a support system, physically, mentally, financially, to be able to live in a vibration of abundance and embrace our most authentic self and share our happiness together.
It's something incredible, and our health is so important, especially at a time like this.
And I'm learning more about myself every day, and learning more about all the women in the community as well, because it is just safe space.
Gift, because this is what it is, ladies. It is a gift that we have got to give to women all over the world, because without this gift I wouldn't be the lady that I am speaking on this call today.
But it's now my time to think about me, and oh God.
Put You First has now not just become this incredible community, but we even have what's called a 7-day challenge that we do together.
Put You First 7-day challenge. Holy Moses.
This challenge made me aware of why I was doing that, or why I needed to do it more. And it also forces you into small, daily, simple habits that can just start you back on the right track. So there's so many things in this challenge that you ladies gonna learn that it's amazing, because it's make you be the woman that you always wanted to be.
Joined a lot of self-care challenges and groups and stuff, and they're a lot of fluff. This is not fluff. This is fluff-free.
Mentorship that I have received, knowing now about the excuses that I use, the way that I self-sabotage myself, the perception that I had on my own reality and the experiences that I was going through, now knowing that has helped me become the person that I am today. And it's all because I said yes.
There are amazing women that I've met, that I laughed with, cried with. Anytime we're on the call, we're just like, I actually want to even cry, because it's done so much for me.
Maybe you are someone that's not putting yourself first. You are someone that needs to surround yourself with more women like this.
I said yes. I said yes to this opportunity because I believe it has the power to change lives.
Because all you have to do, everyone, is just say yes.
Oh, it always gets me emotional. That is us. That is Put You First, and that is the beautiful women in our community. And thank you so much for being here. We have our special guest today, Leela. Thank you for joining us, you beautiful woman. My new soul sister. I mean, I just fell in love with you. She is a women's empowerment intuitive coach, absolutely incredible, and just such a beautiful, divine, real woman out here sharing her knowledge and doing it in the best way that she can by just showing up. And I think that's just so powerful, and that's everything that we embody with Put You First. Our mission statement for Put You First is I'm putting me first to put you first, because at the end of the day, we can't give what we haven't got. So a little bit about me. I grew up in a very shit and toxic environment. Like so many people, there was a lot of negativity, a lot of physical, sexual, emotional abuse in my upbringing. I grew up with a single mum that had me at 19 years old. And when I become an adult, I realized that it really was affecting me very negatively. I had a very toxic mindset, and I was a very negative person, to be honest with you. Like the Charlie that you see in front of you today, it's taken me a lot of work to become this woman. And I'm proud to say that I finally got out of my own way and I allowed myself to be the person that I deserve to be by letting go of everything that everyone put on me. And I carried a lot of trauma from my mum, from my family, from my life experience. But I want everyone to know that is maybe watching this with us or catching the replay, that you can let go of it, and it's a choice that you make, and it really starts with you. It really does. And when I was 19 years old, pretty much run away from my problems. Most people go to university. I went to Ibiza and done 3 seasons. Now, when I went out there, I was running away from my problems. And in getting lost, I actually found myself. I found the law of attraction. I found an incredible documentary called The Secret, which helped me really open my awareness to the power of your thoughts, the power of how you can manifest what you actually want by setting intentions, by thinking about it. It opens up opportunities, conversations, putting things out there. And then literally about 6 years later, I found myself sitting on the table with Linda Proctor herself, Bob Proctor on stage. And that was really when my life took a massive turn for the better. I met the incredible Heidi Allen, who is one of the incredible mentors in our community. She changed my life. And Put You First was born just over a year ago now. So 2020 was very hard for most of us. It affected all of us in ways that we will remember forever. But for me, 2020 was definitely one of the best years of my life, because Put You First was birthed. And I'm so excited to share our community and our knowledge and our experience with so many women all over the world, because I know that many women felt alone and felt that they didn't know how to start putting themselves first. So we've got a community for you, ladies, and I want to pass it on to my beautiful co-host, Natalie, who is also my divine soul sister and fellow moon goddess, and also co-founder of the Put You First community.
Oh, Charlie, I just adore you. And honestly, even when I look back at that video, we say it all the time, but we look like children. Like, that feels like so long ago. And we've been lucky enough to know each other since we were children. And that's something that I'm forever grateful for. I do feel like the universe put us in each other's paths for a reason. And even though we didn't see it back then exactly what it was, we got cut back together in the end. And I'm just so grateful for that. But I had a very similar upbringing to Charlie. And that was something that I struggled with quite a lot and took a lot of the negativity into my adult life, and I wasn't aware of how that was affecting me on a daily basis, and also the way that it impacted my life from a teenager. And the reason why I really wanted to talk about patience today especially was because I feel like that's something I struggled with my whole entire life. And it's showing up in so many different forms now that I am an adult. And there's so many different ways in which I'm having to find ways to be patient. But one of the main ones for me was because I suffered with eating disorders. That was a huge part of my early teenage years, pretty much up to about a year ago, when I finally admitted it and I decided that I didn't want to live that way anymore. And for me, it wasn't the standard anorexia. It was a combination of bulimia, binge eating. It was just a cycle of abuse that went on for far too long. And so I decided to obviously make that change. But one of the things that I struggled with, like I said, was patience. And that was because it was the constant instant gratification. You know, when you go on a diet and you eat a salad and you look in the mirror and you want to have lost like all of the weight instantly, like that was something that I craved. And obviously I didn't realize that that was unrealistic. And I do believe that patience is something that you do get taught over time, because it becomes a little bit more natural in your everyday life. For me, I was an all or nothing person. In some respects, I still am. But it was very much like, I'm going to do it all. I need it all now. So it was never really about taking my time, breathing, being patient, trusting. And that's something that I've really been incorporating into our daily life, mine and Charlie's especially. But that is only really because of the Put You First community and all the lessons that we've been taught. And I'm just so grateful. I feel like even when we look back at that video and I say we look like children, that was only a year ago. Like that, honestly, I look at that and I'm just like, just because I say children, because I genuinely feel like we've grown into women. And that's just so beautiful to see it within ourselves, but also to see it within so many women that are in our community. It's just honestly so phenomenal that this was created in such a dark time. And like you said, Charlie, 2020 was a really difficult year for many, but for me it was a year of realizations. It was a year of me releasing, it was a year of me embracing at the same time, and it really did give me the time that I needed to put myself first, and so for that I am forever grateful.
Oh, I love you so dearly. Leela, did you want to introduce yourself and a little bit about your story? I'd love to open up the space for you as well.
Thank you. Yeah, for sure. So I love today's topic. I love how you guys had a soul moment in coming up with that topic. And for me, similarly, last year was a big year of learning. I've always been into this self-development journey, but I feel like we all had a crash course in it last year and were forced to go that bit deeper. And what's interesting about this topic is that I think the reason we had to do that was because we were forced to slow down. We were forced to be patient, which is something that many of us don't like, especially when you're ambitious. You just want to get to where you're going now without any sense of just wait, just enjoy the present moment. And for me, that was definitely my journey. I have always been someone who likes to do things at pace. And my realizations over the last year have been that I was always doing that as a means to escape things internally that I wasn't willing to accept, which I think many people have come to similar realizations over the last year. So for me, it was always about going for goals and trying to achieve lots and trying to be the best version of myself, which wouldn't seem like a bad thing. And I think I carried it well for a while there, and it would have looked on the outside like I was thriving, and I thought I was as well. I probably was in that space of denial and really believing that I was, and certain things in my life were going well on the outside. But it's that inner fulfillment, which I now believe is the most important thing you can have in life. And that's now what I do, as Charlie introduced me, with my work, is help women find feel-good success. Because I don't think success on its own is necessarily something that feels good, which is what I learned in that I was always running and always trying to do all the things, and my self-worth was attached to my achievements. So when the pandemic hit, I was working self-employed but full-time in a gym as a personal trainer. I'd built my own business as a PT, and overnight I lost all of my income because obviously gym shut. And for me, that was the start of the journey in having to have the outward success and the tangible things taken away, and realizing I've linked my entire self-worth to what I've created. And I loved what I did, and it always was about empowering other people. But for me, I was disempowering myself by linking my worth to that. So this last year for me has been about slowing down and doing all of that inner work, so that what I do is about process. It's about being process driven, enjoying the process. And of course I still have goals, but not linking my validation and my worth to when I achieve this, I'll be good enough. When I make this much money, I'll be good enough. When a client praises me, I'll be good enough. But just I'm good enough now, and therefore I can go from a place of alignment and do what I love because I love it, not because I'm looking for something else. So yeah, that created my motto, which is now I help women slow down to align and prosper, rather than do what I was doing, which is like sprint as fast as you can and ignore all the crap. Sorry, I hope I'm allowed to say that.
Oh, you're allowed to say anything on anyone.
And sprinting to ignore the crap, which is what I was doing before, basically.
Wow. I mean, that is just so in alignment with everything that we embody as Put You First, because I mean, Put You First was created from one conversation. Now, I had a very successful business. I'm a DJ as well. That's something that I've always wanted to do. That didn't happen overnight either. That took a lot of patience. And it took me actually setting an intention and finding the time and making the time for myself to actually invest in something that I wanted to do. And it was difficult. It was difficult. Anything's difficult if you don't know how to do it. But I've realized so much now after that one conversation of me asking for help and me going up to Heidi in Canada at the event and saying, Heidi, like, I am so good at helping people figure out what they want, figuring out their goals and the end game. Like, what do you want? What's your life goal? Like, I can help people with that. But creating a strategy and a plan to get there, like, I had no idea. And that is where the famous quote comes from, when Heidi literally turned around to me. Natalie was standing next to me. She went, I'm a type A personality on crack. I'm amazing at that. And a call with 8 turned into 80 overnight. And now we've got over 400 women in our community all over the world. And we've got holistic therapists. We've got Heidi's a TV presenter, women who are business women who have been helping others their entire life, but they never knew how to put themselves first. And they were also really striving for this success to feel good. But it is, you're so right. It's about feeling good now. And then when you attain those goals, that's just an added bonus. And I think patience goes hand in hand with everything that we embody, especially with being present in this now moment, because the more present you are in this now moment, and the more happy you are in this now moment, the more you're grateful for the small daily miracles, the small things that you achieve on a daily basis. If that's getting up, making your bed, if that's having a shower when you feel like you didn't want to get out of bed, or even if it's just doing the washing, it can be anything at all. But like the daily things, I'm realizing, make such a big positive impact when you focus on that. And I felt like I was trying to achieve something to validate myself because I didn't feel good enough. Like, I really didn't. And I know that so many women and men feel like that. Like, so many people are trying to strive for something because they feel like they have to be this version of themselves, this identity that they're attached to feel like they can be good enough. And that's just not right. Like, but society has programmed us to feel this way because it's just instant gratification. I'm not being funny, but if you remember 5 years ago, you'd have to wait a week to watch the next episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Now you go on Netflix and you've got a whole season to watch one after another. And I feel like, yes, okay, that might be good, but if you don't have the discipline and the cognitive dissonance to be able to say, no, enough's enough, let me just wait for it, it builds that appreciation more as well, doesn't it? And I think that it's okay to be aware that you're not a patient person, but there are so many things that we can do. Now, I'm someone who's very energetic, I'm very enthusiastic, I'm very passionate. I've been told, like, Charlie, your passion for things is just next level. Like, you're not like the average person with that. And I'm like, okay. But meditation just isn't for me. I'm going to be real. It's really not, because I just get bored, because I've been so used to living my life in fight or flight mode that peace just doesn't feel comfortable to me. It makes me feel uncomfortable. So I like to practice breath work. I love yoga. I love physical exercise. Now, I want people to understand that there's so many different ways that you can build the muscle of patience, and it doesn't just have to be sitting in silence. And there's so many practices that I'm leaning into now, especially as I am running my own business, as I am supporting others. I think as well, especially with the way that you start your day and putting yourself first thing in the morning, even if that's an hour, 2 hours or 3 hours, however you want to do it, but make sure you're giving your energy to you first for you to then be able to give to others. Because ultimately, I look back at my life 3 years ago, and I had a conversation with my nan the other day because we had afternoon tea in the garden. One of our good friends finally come round and we see our little Bubba for the first time in ages. Well, the first time we've met her, and I haven't seen Benji in about 2 years. So, and I was really reflecting on the person that I am, and she was like, "You're just so calm." I mean, ladies, the baby fell asleep in my arms first time, and the dad's been waiting 4 weeks for the baby to fall asleep in his arms. Now I was like, this is the peace inside me now. I'm tranquil. And I was looking back, and I remember when I used to live with my nan and granddad, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I was working in recruitment 5 days a week, like 6 till 6, if not later, working in bars in the weekends, and I was just running myself down to the ground. I was burning the candle at both ends as well. And I always used to say this. I used to say, I've done nothing for me today. Nothing. I've done nothing for me today. But I chose to do nothing for me that day. I chose to put everyone before me. We do make them choices. And as hard as it is for me to look back now and go, wow, like I was really creating that vibration in my body. I was allowing myself to feel like that. Now I've got that awareness. I'm like, but 3 years ago, I was moaning about my problems, and I didn't even have the awareness that I was actually creating that. And I'd love to pass it on to you next, because I know, like, even with the challenge and everything that we've been going through this week and the awareness that we had yesterday, like, it's just so powerful, isn't it?
Absolutely. And Leela, what you've just said was so powerful. I was talking to Charlie about a friend of mine yesterday, and what you said really brought me to an epiphany. And I was a bit like, okay, again, that I have to be patient with the process with my friend. I won't go too deep because that is a story for another day, but just thank you. Thank you. You gave me an epiphany in whatever you said. But yes, Charlie, I do feel like everything that we've been learning is just such an eye-opener. And it's crazy because Heidi always says that the lessons that are taught are not rocket science, and they're really not. And it's crazy that when you gain this awareness and you realize that it is the small things that you're doing. One of the things for me was comparison. On Instagram, I was constantly comparing myself. And I think I said this last week, that I'd look at people who are size 6, and I've always been a curvy woman, or girl, should I say, always been curvy. But I'd look at a person who was a size 6 and strive to become this person when that was probably never genetically possible for me. And so comparison was a massive one that I really struggled with. And I feel like the topic of patience, there's so many tangents that I want to go down. Honestly, I've got so many thoughts going on in my head right now. I'm trying to pick one. I feel especially with patience, it is as well about having faith, and I think keeping that trust within yourself, within the process, within whatever you're going through. I think 2020 is a perfect example with everything that fell apart. Even for you, Leela, something so beautiful came out of that. And I bet in the beginning it seemed like the worst thing in the world, and I bet it was really difficult for you to be patient and sort of trust the process, and something better's coming. But it is so important that we do so. And I feel like that's something that I think I've learned, is even when times are really hard, really difficult, they feel really dark, that those are probably the most important times in our life, when we need to practice patience, when we need to have faith, when we need to just trust in the process, and also surrender at the same time and let all of that go. So yeah, it's really, really, patience has become something that I feel I'm practicing, and I do feel a lot more peaceful. I went out for dinner with some friends the other day. I've come off of Instagram. I've done a hell of a lot of releasing and just allowing myself to be me without feeling like I'm putting pressure on myself to show up, create this image, like you said, attach myself to the likes, the instant gratification. Again, at the touch of a button, if we feel sad, we put up a picture, we get loads of likes, loads of comments, we feel good. And it was like, if I didn't post a selfie or it didn't get as many likes, it was in effect having an impact on my self-worth. And that was quite a scary prospect for me. And even though I was actually using Instagram in the end for really positive improvements in my life, the growth. I was putting videos up of me in my natural form, in my underwear, like unfiltered. And I was just like, this is who I am. This is a normal body, like really empowering myself. There was still that other side of me that was grips with the comparison, and also the thought of me feeling $100 million one day, then the next day feeling that negativity that I've been so used to living with every single day for almost 30 years. It was a real conflict in my head. And coming off of Instagram and just having patience with myself and just knowing that what I'm doing right now, I'm coming away from, I don't want to say the spotlight because I didn't have a huge platform, but that's what it felt like to me. I felt like I was under the spotlight. But coming out of that and just being able to be me without feeling like there's any eyes or there's any judgment or anything like that is really, really beautiful. And in this present moment, the way that I'm practicing patience, people are noticing how peaceful that I am. And they're like, how are you finding it not being on Instagram? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And they're like, no, you're just so calm. I'm like, I know, because I just feel like I've released everything that no longer serves me, and I'm just on a really good vibration. So even the little things like that we've learned through the PutUFirst challenge, and that's something that I'm just forever grateful for. Doing it every single month as well is something that's really helped to keep me accountable. So I'm someone that will do something and I'll love it, and then I'll forget about it the next month, and it will go down the drain, and then you just sort of forget, and it might come up on my time hop or something a year later. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about that. Like, but that was really helping me. So having the PutUFirst challenge every single month and doing it every single month is not only keeping me accountable, but it's helping me to gain awareness of the practices that I put into my daily life that really do create a positive impact. And you're right, Charlie, it is the small daily habits. And yeah, it is just so beautiful. But do you have any tips for us, Leela? Because I mean, you must be an absolute queen of patience. It sounds like you are. So I would love to hear your thoughts on the subject.
I mean, queen of patience, we're not yet crowning myself, I think, but we're working towards it. Maybe a princess. Maybe
I love that.
But I really relate to what both of you said. Actually, Charlie, you said about being in fight or flight mode. That was me for most of my life. So patience is really something that doesn't come naturally to me. But like I said, I have had a crash course in it over the last year. And Natalie, I think you said surrender. And that's a word that to me is so, it's probably my word for 2020, to be fair. And it's on my vision board, and it's a really important word to me, but it's something that really was difficult to come to terms with, because for me, my struggles have always been throwing myself into my ambitions in an unhealthy way, and that is not obvious to outsiders. So for me, it's always been about goals and dreams, and it's always been that I want to do and achieve things, but that I have to make sure I'm doing so in a way that is actually for the highest good for myself, for others, not just in a sense of gratification. Like you guys said, it was gratification, sense of, if I do this, will I get praise? If I get praise, will I feel good enough? And obviously that's not a very healthy cycle at all. So surrender to me was really difficult because it felt like giving up. And I think from conversations I've had with clients and other people, when I say now as a coach, surrender, people's faces tend to do that, and they think that surrender means giving up. And I can see why they might think that, because I used to think that as well. So when it comes to patience, I think surrender is a key part of that. But how do we embrace that concept without feeling like we're giving up? And to me, it felt like giving up or settling, another word which I didn't like, because I saw myself as a striver. And I think it's really important to recognize that you can have aspirations, dreams, and goals and still be present and patient. So in terms of tips for doing that, I think it's really about detaching from the outcome. And again, all of these things used to trigger me, so I understand that it might trigger some people, because it does sound like forget about that or give up. But when I started to feel the feeling that I wanted now, that was my way of detaching, surrendering, being patient, but still having those aspirations and still moving towards them in alignment instead of out of a desperate need for validation. So as an example, which might help to clarify, if I had a goal of hitting a certain income target and I was obsessed with it, and when somebody asked me, one of my coaches asked me, why do you want that goal? Why do you want to make that much money? And I said, because I want to write a book and no one will read my book unless I can say that I'm a success. And I think that to show I'm a success, I need to say I've made this amount of money, because that's what all the girl bosses do. And it was only through repeating that sentence that I heard it and realized how completely the opposite of who I thought I was that sentence was, and how needy and relying on validation that sentence was. So what I then realized is that really the real reason I want money, I only needed a fraction more of that for what I really wanted, were things that would allow me freedom and opportunity. That's what I wanted, was really just to feel free and to feel that I had an impact. So what I did was instead embrace the freedoms that I have now in a very small way even, and focused on those. And that meant that every day I feel present and I feel fulfilled, and I don't feel like I have to hit that income goal to be happy, because I realize that I'm happy now because I know what fulfills me. I know that I value freedom. So I embrace the freedom. I go for a walk in the middle of the day rather than feel that I need to be on a call or something like that, just to embrace that freedom. And then I feel happy now. So I'm not waiting for that thing. I'm not putting my happiness on that goal. I feel patient because there's nothing outside of me that I need. And weirdly, more likeness keeps coming and more things that help me feel free, more opportunities come my way the more I embody that. So I think it's about really digging into the feelings that you are seeking with your goals and focusing on those now. And you don't have to dismiss your goals, but you just center with in which ways you are already fulfilling them, rather than getting stuck on the lack.
Oh my God, I couldn't have said it better myself. Queen of patience. She has just been graduated from a princess to a queen. Honestly, Leela, the way that you've just explained it, obviously we've been leading this community now and we're still learning and everyone's still learning. No one has got it figured out. And this is something that we really stress to people, that we need to find what works for us, and what works for us might not work for you, but we're here to hold space to help you figure out what works for you by sharing with you what we have learned. Now, I was going to ask you both the question, what does patience mean to you both? But you have just literally said it in a nutshell. It is trusting and surrendering in the now, and that you are enough, you have everything that you need in this present moment, and that anything that you desire or need will come to you in this now moment. You don't have to go after things, because then that's the vibration of lack, because then you're telling the universe or God or whatever it is, even yourself, that you don't have enough right now. And I think that's something that is so beautiful that we can gain with patience, is presence in the now, and allowing yourself the time to appreciate what you do have. And you're right, going for a walk. For instance, I had a meeting today at 3. It got rescheduled for another day. I had some free time. I was like, wow, I've got free time. I've got an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to spare. I done a mix. I uploaded it on SoundCloud. Whereas if I was in a fear of lack, I would have thought, oh, I was meant to have that meeting, that fell through, now I've got nothing to do. And then you waste that time. You waste that time with a frustration energy, that the time that it takes you to frustrate and moan and focus on something that you don't want, if you could just switch your vibration in that moment, in the time it took you to moan about the thing that you don't like, you could actually be putting that energy into something that can actually help you, that you enjoy. And I love a few things that really help me get out of that, and music's definitely one of them for me. Music helps bring me back into the present moment when I feel sometimes stressed. If it might be like family issues, like we all have challenges that we go through. Life is at the end of the day, life is life. Like, you can be the most positive person in the world, the most peaceful person, you can trust and surrender. You're always going to have challenges that are going to come your way, and that helps you really develop your resilience. And I think that if you can find stillness in your day, if that's for 10 minutes, 15 minutes or an hour, it allows you to hold more space for yourself when them challenges arise, because you've strengthened that muscle. And even when it comes down to masculine and feminine, now, we have lived within a society where the foundation of pretty much most of the systems that we are in were created by men. And I know that many people will know this already, but there is quite a lot of toxic masculine energy. Now, there's divine masculine and feminine within men and women. We're not singling men. Some of us women actually lent too much into our toxic masculine, and we felt that we had to be independent. We felt like we had to go after things. We had to provide for ourselves and be everything for ourselves. And I think that we're going through such a shift in 2020. Like, I'm really into astrology, and I love the vibration of everything right now, because it's allowing us to slow down and realize that if you can just breathe and take a step back and trust and surrender and allow things to come to you, that's actually a much better productive way of doing things, rather than having that feeling of lack and having to go after everything, because then you're just going to constantly feel like if something comes into your life, then you're going to have to try and keep it there. And I feel like the law of attraction, vibration, it's very easy to attract things into your life, but if you are not at that resonance, at that frequency to hold that vibration in this now moment, then it's going to leave you, and then it's going to keep confirming these negative core beliefs of, look, I'm not enough because it came to me and now it's left again. Oh, look, I earned that money and then I lost that job because I couldn't take on that job, because I took on that job and I wasn't qualified to do that, but I wanted that money, and it's all coming from lack. And I feel that the more that we can focus on what we do have and what we can do, and know that we're not meant to know everything. Like, I don't want to do everything. I want to really become a master in my field and what I enjoy. And then, for instance, Natalie, you're so creative. And when we have flyers and when we have things that we want to do, if I need someone to create maybe logos and things like that, I go to you. I don't enjoy doing that. But if you want someone to create a vibe and a party, I'm definitely that person. And I think that it's so good for us to tap into these skills and know that if you just focus on what you're good at and you strengthen your skills and you elevate yourself, then the right people are going to come to you. And for me, community is such a big thing. Like, especially in society today, especially within the UK, I feel like we are the most diverse country, probably in the world. Like, there's 8 million people in London alone. And I feel like the lack of community and support is alarming. And I feel like, especially as women, like, we do feel like we don't really know where to turn. And I'm just so grateful that I actually get to connect with people like you and have these real discussions and see different perspectives, because we've all got different experiences of life. But if we can come together and explain our struggles, we can actually find a solution together to help a wider audience. And patience, it does take that sometimes, because Rome was not built in a day. We always say this. And for me, I would say the best thing that I have done for myself is learn how to just be happy with who I am and know that I don't need to have everything figured out right now. But the fact that I can actually ask for help, and I can actually sit back sometimes and say, okay, let me look at what I have done and where I am now, because it's definitely a hell of a lot far forward than I thought I would be at my age. Yes, I might look at someone who's the same age as me and they might have more money than me, or they might have more clients in their business than me. But then I can look at someone that's older than me that has less. And it's just this constant comparison. But we are in a society that's so accessible. You can go on Instagram, and I've got nearly 2,000 followers. What person 10 years ago had 2,000 people in their friends list that they see all the time? It's a lot of information, but being patient, I think, really allows you to disassociate from all the noise and just allow you to listen to your own divine intuition and rebuild that relationship with yourself ultimately in this present moment. I think that's just so so powerful. And a lot of people, they'll make so many excuses of why they can't do it. And, oh, I'm just not a patient person. Oh, I can't meditate because I'm impatient. And then I will say to people, the excuse that you're giving why you can't do it is the reason why you should. And I would love to know, like, how do you practice patience? Is there something that's really sort of helped you shift maybe along your journey? Anyone?
Okay. I mean, for me, I think it's one of the main things that I use is the permission slips. We give ourselves permission. That's something that we learned again through the PutUFirst community, but that was something that I'd never even thought about and didn't realize how much of an effective tool it was. And even on my mirror right now, I wrote, I give myself permission to surrender to the unknown and allow the process to be easy. That is on my mirror right now. But even that, when I look at that every day, just that gives me patience, because I know that I'm trusting the process. I'm surrendering into this now moment. And that again instills the peace, the patience, and the trust and the faith that is so important. I mean, I can't believe that's on my mirror, and that's what we've chosen. And this is exactly what we're talking about. I'll send you a picture in a minute, my ladies. But how funny that is. Just something. The permission slips, I definitely think, are something that really instill patience in me, because it's me giving myself the permission that I'm going to do what I want to do. And it's not so much that I'm pushing forward with a narrative or a motive or something that doesn't actually belong to me. So the permission slips allow me to give myself permission for whatever it is that I want, and to be patient enough to actually give myself that permission. I think that's something that's so important, because not many of us do. Like, especially as women, this is what we always say, that we always put people before us, whether it be our family, our friends, sometimes even strangers. I mean, I know that Leela, you've probably done so with your clients before. If you've, like you say, maybe you was on a walk and then you took a phone call and really that was your you time. And that's something that I think we all do as women. We give our time away to other people, but just giving ourselves permission to, you know, put ourselves first and be patient enough to do it, like that's something important. I think every single woman needs to learn. So the permission slips have definitely been an amazing tool for me to practice patience, for sure.
God, I love that. I love that. Leela, is there anything that you would recommend any women to do that might be catching up on the YouTube channel of how to maybe start? Like, maybe they've got terrible patience and they're saying, oh my God, like I'm never going to be that person. Like, what advice could you give them?
I love, Charlie, how you brought up the masculine and feminine energy. I was literally filming a video just before I came on here about this. So another alignment moment. But I think in terms of the question you asked me and what I could share, it's not a quick tip, if I'm honest, but it's more an embodiment practice. And it's what led me to really embrace more patience in terms of how did I actually execute that. And it's what you said, it's about energy embodiment, because I was always in my masculine energy. If you think about the way I describe myself, of going for goals, just keep running forward, keep doing all the things, probably the wounded masculine as well, not the divine. And feminine energy was not something that felt safe to me at all. It didn't feel that. I felt that if I was to surrender and to be in my feminine energy, not even to stand still, but just to give myself more flow, to go and do things when I want to do things with the way I work. I've always been self-employed. I've never worked for someone else. However, I would always make sure that I sat at my desk from 9 until 5, because I didn't feel safe or trust myself to work on my own schedule. And in the last year, that has completely changed. And I will deliberately take showers and wash my hair in the middle of the day, which is like a 3-hour job, go for walks and deliberately work when I want to work and embrace the freedom, like I said before. But to do that, I had to embody my feminine energy, and I had to be comfortable in being flowy, free, and patient and surrender. And that was not natural to me, but doing that in all areas of my life led to that inner peace, because that's my core energy, and probably for most of us here it will be our core energy. And I think, like you guys both said, patience is a form of peace. And I think to be in inner peace, you have to be in alignment with your core energy, because otherwise you're in friction. So for me to embrace that, it's a bit of a funny one, but it's something I mentioned in this video. For me, it was in dating. I really had to embody it outside of myself, as well as in day-to-day life when I'm on my own. It's in everything you do. And as someone who was always in my wounded masculine, I would go into dating and relationships micromanaging, being the one in the lead, trying to control everything, trying to manage everything, trying to say, oh, let's go here if we're going on a date or whatever it is. Me putting in all of the work, because I felt, again, I had to manufacture, force, make things happen. But I'm actually, my core energy is feminine. So not only was I then disappointed because the men that I was dating weren't leading me like I wanted to be led, but they were also probably, that's why the good ones would leave, because I was polarizing them, because I was putting up a masculine guard, and it wasn't gelling, because our two energies were fighting with each other. So by learning to surrender and just be okay to receive, which is all comes down to self-worth, doesn't it? If you feel that you deserve to receive love, abundance, money, whatever it is, then that flowed on into my business. And feeling, I think with patience, you have to feel that you can just let things happen a little bit. You have to, like you say, surrender, but also be willing to receive and to let that goal come to you without you making it, forcing it to happen. So feminine energy is all about receiving. And I think if you embody that, that's the piece of the puzzle that makes everything else click. If you allow yourself to receive, because I think often we block that.
Wow.
Powerful.
I love you so much. Like, I feel like, can you just come here every Wednesday? Because like, you are just, I feel like my brain is speaking. I feel like my soul is speaking out of your mouth. I honestly relate with you so much, even when it comes down to relationships, even when it comes down to the wounded masculine. Like, I would feel so unsafe to accept, but I was such a giving person. I could give very easily. I'll give the clothes off my back. I'll allow someone to sleep in my bed and I'll sleep on the sofa. I've got food. Nope, that's fine. You eat. I can't eat if you're not eating. And now I'm learning how to sit more in my feminine. And I love this saying when it says, a woman doesn't chase a man, sperm goes to the egg, darling. And I think it's just so beautiful. And I mean, everything that's happening within the universe at the moment, astrology says it, we are shifting from masculine to feminine. The earth is shifting at the moment, and if you don't believe me, look it up. But yeah, we are. And I think it's just such a beautiful thing, because we have been trying so hard to be these versions of ourselves for so long, because society and the energies that have surrounded us have pushed us that way. But now we're like, no, I'm going to dissociate from this, and I'm going to sit back, and I'm going to be and allow myself to be who I am in this now moment, and know that that is enough and divine as I am here and now. And I think it's very hard. It is difficult to do that at the start, but the more you do that, like patience, like trusting, like surrendering, especially if you've been through trauma, especially if you've experienced upset maybe in your relationships with family, and stuff has happened to you, like, you're gonna have these wounds. But going right back to when we started this conversation, Natalie, when you said in that video with Put You First, we were children, but the reason why we have evolved now as women, as individuals, is because we have gone inside and we have healed our inner childs, and we are still doing this. Like, this is a process, and from now till next month, we're going to absorb new habits, good and bad. And it's about us being able to spend the time to sit back and reflect and let go of what no longer serves, and choose what we want to carry with us moving forward. And I think it's just such a beautiful thing as we evolve in life to be able to have these real conversations and be able to be open enough and vulnerable enough to actually share this. So now I'm going to pass it on to you. We've got a few minutes left, girl. Oh my God. I mean, this has just been one of the best Wake Up Wednesdays we've had so far. And I know the ladies aren't on here, but they're definitely going to enjoy the replay.
Yes, honestly, Leela, I can't thank you enough for sharing this space with us, because everything that you've said has just blown my mind, because it's so right. Like, honestly, when you were saying about how you was moving forward, especially with your dating, all I could think about was Charlie. Like, all I could think about was Charlie. Like, I know her so well, and I thought this is just incredible. And honestly, all the divine alignments and synchronicities, the way that this event has been pulled together, even if it is just us three live, I'm so incredibly grateful that this happened, because just wow. Thank you. And even what you were saying, Charlie, before this was about community and how important that is. Like, I'm just grateful that Leela, you was happy to come and join us on this Wake Up Wednesdays. This is what community is all about. And this is what especially Wake Up Wednesdays is all about, an open conversation where we can just share who we are, share what we believe, share what we've learned, in hope that it helps others grow and flourish, and invite the abundance into their lives that they so rightly deserve. Because even though we've all got one of these in our pockets, we're probably more disconnected than ever, even though we should be more connected than ever. And I'm just grateful that we have come together and had a real heart-centered conversation. And yeah, you both just really helped me overcome quite a lot that I was thinking about in my head. So I needed this call. So I'm grateful. And I hope the ladies who are catching the replay got some really good nuggets from it as well. But yes, thank you, Leela. Thank you for joining us.
I just want to thank you guys for having me, for the way you've received me. I really feel like I've just found my tribe. It's been special. I felt the love for sure. So thank you so much for having me. It's a special place that you've got here for sure.
Oh, honestly, I adore you. You already know this. Like, we have to meet up and have that coffee in person very soon. But you know what? I wanted to give the women a couple of things and tools that they could actually use for their patients right now. Now, many of you already know meditation is a great way to develop patience. Meditation, I'm going to really be direct about this. So many people overthink it. It is just about you sitting there telling your body for 5-10 minutes to an hour, you're going to do nothing. And I am telling you, you're going to be still. It's about you breathing and allowing your thoughts to flow. If thoughts come up, that's fine. Let it go. Come back to your breath. And start small. Start on 5 minutes a day. Then go to 10 minutes a day. Then go to 15 minutes a day. Don't go right in at an hour. That's like going for a marathon when you've never run a day in your life and you've got a sprained ankle. It's just not going to work. And in the Put You First community, we don't like to set people up to fail. And also, I would say as well, a really great crystal for patients is anything clear, quartz, clearing. When you're meditating, you can just keep that near you, hold that in your hand, and even just believing that this will help you be still in this now moment, setting that intention itself is powerful enough. So even if you believe in crystals, if they work or not, it's the intention. We all know about placebo effects. If you don't, please watch a Dr. Joe Dispenza video and you will be mind blown. But the power of placebo is actually equally as powerful as medication can be itself. So intentions are so powerful. And even just spending 5 minutes looking at a candle flame. Now, I love candles and it's a great way to bring you into the present moment through your senses, through sight, looking at the flame, watching the flame. You're going to have thoughts come up, but just keep looking at that flame. Keep allowing that flame to embrace your gaze and bring you into the present moment. Smell the candle as it burns. Use your senses to pull you into this present moment. And even when you're eating, rather than you sitting there on your phone or watching TV, make yourself a good meal and give yourself space and silence to enjoy the flavors, smell the food, enjoy the food, Bring yourself into the present moment. All of these practices allow you to enjoy the beautiful physical senses that we have been blessed with in this divine existence, and it really helps you build your patience. There are so many different ways that you can do this, but here are just a few. And even when you're watching a Netflix series, rather than you allowing it to roll over and watching a whole series in one day, how about you do it one series a day? Just try it, and then just watch the shift in your appreciation and watch your patience just evolve and grow over time. Now, this is something that I've been practicing for over a year now, and there's even times when I get frustrated and I still expect things to manifest pretty much immediately, but unfortunately life doesn't always go that way. So be patient with yourself as you're learning patience, and just know that over time it will grow. And if you ever want to reach out to any of us, please do. And yeah, we love you all. Thank you for joining us. And Leela, honestly, thank you so much for joining us. I love you so much. Natalie as well. Girl, you know how much I love you.
I love you, Queens. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Happy Wake Up Wednesday.
Happy Wake Up Wednesday. Keep going, keep growing, and keep flowing.
Bye, ladies.